Jackson Radio Show.
We begin today with the politics lead. President Trump this weekend exacerbating an already contentious debate in the culture wars by picking a side and doing so willingly, enthusiastically, and really rather crudely.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
The response from NFL players and owners was overwhelmingly a dramatic rejection of that, with the league commissioner and team owners issuing statements assailing President Trump's comments and his tone. And these displays of unity and brotherhood among hundreds of players, locking arms, supporting their fellow players, taking knees, including especially support for, those who have been protesting during the anthem. And keep in mind, as you look at these pictures from Sunday, 1 week before, according to an ESPN tally, only 9 players of the nearly 1,700 in the NFL were kneeling or sitting or raising a fist during the national anthem. That is until the president chose to enter the fray and call those 9 men, sons of and demand that they be fired. Let us begin today our discussion with the simple proposition that for most Americans, where you come down on the debate over protests during the national anthem at a football game is not wrong, per se. That those who want to take a knee or raise a fist are doing so not because they hate America or the flag or the anthem, but because they love them. And they want the United States of America to be the best she can be, and they see too much racial injustice to do nothing. People such as the Seattle Seahawks' Michael Bennett, who told us just a few days ago after Charlottesville, he could no longer do nothing.
There's a point where silence is becoming dishonest. Every day I try to remind my daughter that she matters and that she's important, that her skin doesn't matter. She's going to be judged off the content of a character, like Martin Luther King say. But every day when I watch TV, I'm reminded that that's not the America that I'm living in.
And let us also posit today that those who oppose these protests during moments that are supposed to be unifying, and when many are thinking about troops and veterans, especially those who have been lost, that those who feel that way are not necessarily wrong either, and that they too have every right to their feelings and demonstrations and should not automatically be treated as hostile to the desire for racial justice. People such as Terry Johnson, a Gold Star mother who lost her son, Sergeant Joseph Johnson, in an IED attack in Afghanistan in 2010, and who spoke with us as well.
The flag that I see is the flag that draped my son's casket in honor. And I see the flag that was handed to my husband and I with deep respect from a grateful nation.
Welcome back, everybody. That was Jake Tapper. I'm Kevin Jackson. Jake Tapper. It's amazing how wrong he could be on all this. He's trying to balance it. He's saying, yeah, well, the people who are protesting are right. They're protesting for all these different angst and all these other things. That's not what they're protesting. And then he goes on to say, but you're right too, because you have a right to respect, have people want to respect the flag, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Whatever, Jake. He says, the president picked a side. Sure he did. He picked the side of the country. Not a few. And I love how Tapper says there were only 9. It was overwhelmingly rejected. Donald Trump's view was overwhelmingly rejected. Really, football, overwhelmingly rejecting. A sport that used to be a sport that, is certainly watched overwhelmingly by patriots, and they're going to find this out the hard way. It used to be that way that the owners were, but now the owners are a bunch of, Silicon Valley fat cats that, a bunch of leftists. So they'll allow this stuff to go on. But he wants you to believe, well, there were only 9 people and then there were hundreds because of what the president did. I'm so glad at what Donald Trump did. I'm not going to rehash it, but I'm happy that he did it. If it exposed all the other people and all the other feelings and sentiments, congratulations. Because the NFL is going to suffer. So will the NBA, so will other sports. But you know what else? What's going to happen? The country will be better for it. Capitalists outside of the NFL will be better for it. Black folks will be better for it. They're going to finally get back to the thing where we go to work and we do our jobs and we showcase who we really are. I want to segue. So I tell this story a few times on my show because it's relevant. There was a black nationalist, egocentric racist, ethnocentric racist, I should say, he was a parent of one of the kids at my kid's school when my kid was in a French immersion school. A school started by a black lesbian that had a student body population of 70% black kids and 70% black parents. Parents who were plugged in, who wanted their children to learn a foreign language, thought it was a cool thing. So they put the kids in there. I knew the lady, but we knew the lady before she was teaching, going to do the school. And we were supportive of her. Melissa and I were like, yes, we want to get our kid in that school as soon as we can. So we did. And every time you go to one of these meetings, PTO, parent-teacher meetings, this big mouth black dude, big mouth too. And he would, in this school needs to be more black, and black this, and they need to learn the black culture, and black this, and black this. We need more blacks and blacks and blacks. And finally, after enough time, you finally get sick of it, and you go, first of all, will you just shut up with all the black stuff? You got a school run by a black woman who's got 70% black kids, 70% black parents, in inner city school. I think these kids have enough blackness. What they're here to learn is French culture, French language, to expand themselves. And all you do is come here and talk about black. You need to shut your mouth and let people be heard. And he's like, yeah, you. Because if you don't, essentially what I was alluding to is I'll shut it for you. So, meeting goes along, whatever. And then black folk come up later and they say, I'm so glad you said something to that guy. These are young black families, 3 of them, just kind of sneak over almost and say that. And the reason they say that is because they told me. I said, well, man, speak up. And they go, no, man, I can't speak up like you. We can't. And they didn't say articulate, but like, it was more, I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, no, man, you know how to make people pay attention, right? And I was like, well, I'm happy to do it because you can sense the frustration of the room with this guy constantly. Everything racist, racial, in a school that's owned by a black woman. That's just ridiculous to me. Anyway, I want to segue that into this movie, and I talked about it before, but it's worth talking about again, and it's called Hidden Figures, and it's been completely over Hollywooded or whatever, but there are some interesting pieces to it. So there are these 3 black women that work for NASA, 3 different areas. One's a very good mathematician, the other one's an engineer, and the other one ends up transferring into becoming a computer programmer. But they all work in the math department for NASA. And so the one black woman gets called up to work on getting John Glenn figuring out the parabolic orbit and what he needs to get back into the atmosphere and having to do the math before computers. And she was amazing at math, Euclidean geometry. And what it talked about was all the things that she overcame in order to get that job done. And eventually she worked on the landing men on the moon. Another black lady was not allowed to become an engineer, even though she had engineering ability. She had degrees in math and whatever else, but that technically qualified her to enter the engineering program. And the guy she worked for said, Mary, you're an amazing engineer. Why aren't you getting an engineer? She says, look, I know my limitations as a black woman in the South. They don't want me to be an engineer. She's got all the qualifications. Well, she's talking to the black ladies one time. They're playing cards, and she says, I ain't even going to. He wants me to be an engineer. I ain't going to be no engineer because why should I even try? And the one who ends up being a computer scientist and was sort of the supervisor says to her, look, quit complaining. I don't want to hear it. Don't tell me that you have to go to a white school to get the classes you need. If you want it, you'll do it. And so she ends up petitioning she petitions the court. And the way they show her doing it was masterful. She talked to the judge and said, Judge, you are the first in your family to go to college, the first to become a judge, the first to do this. And now you're going to get an opportunity to do something else. Because I work for NASA, they want me in a particular program, and I can't get in it unless I'm the first to get into this school to learn, to get my degree so I can go become an engineer. And the judge got it, and said, do it, but only take night classes, blah, blah, blah. Guess he figured they couldn't see her at night, right? But anyway, so she does it. But here's what the gist of it is. These women didn't look for excuses. Every reason was there for them to stop and not do it, but they didn't do it. They were like, no. Why? Because they were brilliant. They were smart. She wasn't afraid to go to that college because she knew she could compete. That other woman wasn't afraid to learn how to program the IBM because she knew she could do it. White people couldn't do it. The other one wasn't afraid to go work directly to get John Glenn to outer space because she was uniquely qualified. It's amazing what happens when you feel like you can sit with white folks. You are powerful. These NFL players don't feel that way.
Kevin Jackson
on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.